sense here, grabbing some AP into the composition. Nice scaling pick. Fnatic looking like they have, a splash of early game here with the Aatrox, as well as that Rek'Sai. They have powerful engage alongside this Nautilus, but the late game is also pretty secure when you have a Sivir and a Corki who are going to be scaling really well all the way up to 6 items.
And honestly, this is a textbook Fnatic draft. You've got playmaking for Hylissang, you have a comfortable mid lane pick up for Nemesis, Reckless on comfort champion as well. It's really comfort across the board. Obviously, you would prefer to Pyke if you're a big Hylissang fan, but the Nautilus is still quite good. And not getting a lot of respect over to TSM despite the 0-2 stars that they've had, drafting something that just looks to be pure comfort for them. And on the opposite side for TSM, you've got early proactive playmaker for Arcadian. You talked about how crucial that could be for the team, as well as the potential power of the Yuumi Lucian bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, and to TSM's credit, this does not feel like a draft where they're saying, yep, let's just sit back and go late. This feels like they want to be more aggressive. You have the Elise who wants to get out on the map, who wants to dominate, be repeat ganking nonstop, match that pressure, if not even overcome it, that the Rek'Sai has. And then you have this Aurelia and Nico, two very powerful solo laners who really do turn online at 6. The all-in potential can be very powerful there alongside a Rek'Sai, or rather alongside that Elise. So I'm going to be really interested to see how they do pull this off. But it is TP on the Lucian, so not going to have the barrier. And as a result, Sven will be much more susceptible to that all-in, especially if Dan does make a trip down to that bottom lane. And I think you would be wanting to focus wherever the Nautilus is, because Nautilus has such incredible gank assistance. So we'll have to see how TSM can actually play around that. Will Acadian be able to match gank for gank with Dan playing this Rek'Sai?
And that is the question as we head into our final game of the first stage. TSM fans alive in the studio tonight. I've got my eyes on the mid lane as well. We've seen it in the hands of G2, but the power of Elise, Aurelia, if you can ever land the Cocoon, the Chain CC. Corki, not a champion who wants to get behind early, has the luxury of going for the Kleptomancy in this matchup, so very focused, not on necessarily early trading, but more on scaling up, getting a bit more gold under his belt, getting that fast Trinity Force.
Yeah, so it's going to be, trying to rush towards that, maximizing income here with the Klepto against this Aurelia. We'll have to see exactly how TSM wants to play out this bottom lane. I do think that is where so much of the action can be expected to be. Fnatic may throw a curveball, but this is something that they could look to abuse. And TSM did not go for the maximum possible defense. And if you're able to survive without the barrier, then teleport is great. It's going to give you more tempo in this lane. It's going to allow you to kind of continue battling back with the Sivir, who is going to be playing TP, who is going to try to keep you under your turret. We know that's the style that Reckless has always loved to play throughout his career, not only on the Sivir, but on things like the Tristana as well. So they are going to be trying to match that and just praying that they can kind of withstand any potential all-in.
A little bit of damage being traded down. Ability fired will still get the double Klepto stacks. But going through for now. Mid lane, not necessarily where we keep our attention. Level 2, of course, could be important if someone's able to grab it first, but bot lane, much more set up for action early on. Lucian should be quite strong. Cat, not the scariest at level 1, but level 3 and a few more points could happen, and missing that dredge line, crucial. Clearly Sven, very comfortable in the Yuumi setup, Smoothie as well, stepping forward just enough to connect there on the Prowling projectile.
Yeah, and these are two guys who actually play, a lot of solo queue and practice these sorts of things as well. Sven, certainly known as a really big grinder, someone who always is putting in the games to learn, not only his champion, but also kind of how best to play with some of these supports. And that's something I think that is incredibly important with Yuumi, understanding the rage on that queue and being able to play best around that to kind of enable, Yuumi, especially with this Comet setup, which is so prioritizing hitting that queue. To really succeed.
And really the only option there to find the proc until the ultimate is available. And in the mid lane, Corki, no surprise, a little bit more control over the wave with the power to get a little bit more AoE down. But Bjergsen can constantly threaten fully stacked passes, something you always have to be a bit scared of. And in the top lane, range advantage for the Nico as well as the Glacial Augment, making it very difficult for Bwipo to approach the wave. Has already been shoved in.
Yeah, Bwipo is just going to accept that it's going to push in and then look to try to farm up as much as he can. You can see actually it's Acadian heading up to this top side, so at least one of the best divers in the game. They may try to push Bwipo off of this lane. They're going to look for this dive.
Have to be careful though. Flash out. Who not going to connect as well. Acadian just going to be able to walk out of that one. Bit of a fumble there, but at the end, they do get the flash.
No, they can just reset. This is actually perfect. You reset, the wave is still there. Now you started up with no flash on him. Acadian needs to start the dive, though, so he can repel the aggro off. Oh, no.
Oh, that's not what you want to see. The lockdown is still there, however. The flash out. Bwipo still alive.
Yeah, that is definitely a botch. They could try to go for it one more time, but if you fail now...
Forms, goes in the air, first blood, comes through, Broken Blade! That is gonna get taken down in the end, a 1-for-1.
Yeah, definitely not what you want when you're investing that much time and both of your flashes into it. Katie and that Cocoon straight into the minion. Dan now here looking to set up a potential dive on this bottom side, at least threatening it. Not sure that they'll go for it, though. Would be difficult with Sven playing around this turret and the double defensive summoners.
Well played by Smoothie there on the prime projectile. We'll look back at this one. And
yeah, this is just something that you need to have Acadian getting the aggro first. And that is a minion that was there. It didn't move. I mean, he does actually pull the aggro. They do, thankfully, end up getting the first blood, so that is at least something going for them. And Repel does reset that threat, but Broken Blade already had blown his flash, so does go down. And Whippo, not impressed with the play there.
2 Cocoons missed, one of course flashed away from, but a bit unfortunate there. Maybe a bit of nerves on stage for Acadian. Obviously a decently high pressure game as TSM does need to find a win.
But I mean, that is something that they really want to execute on, right? You're investing in the Elise for that sort of play. You need to be able to execute on it. And the difference between giving that kill over or not is so massive, because without that kill, Whippo essentially has to come back to lane with no buy, right? You know, maybe he gets just the refillable, but with that, you know, he's actually not sitting in too bad a position. And now with Dan up here, there is the chance to push this out and try to shove Broken Blade back.
Chains come in. Good bit of damage now. Whippo feeling a lot more confident. Early MR, make things a bit easier, but the cooldowns are still so incredibly long that Broken Blade very wisely just goes in for the punish there, knowing that there's really no chance for Whippo to respond.
Yeah, you can see Acadian kind of setting up shop here over on the right side of the map, and now looking for Nemesis.
Stun does connect, he's flying for the air. Acadian has hit the Cocoon, doesn't even need to. Bjergsen, that damage coming in from the Aurelia.
Yeah, Bjergsen pretty much is getting a solo kill there. Acadian not much involvement at all. Does grab the assist, but let's watch this one more time as Nemesis getting punished very heavily. Bjergsen going straight in, connects the stun, reset onto that Valkyrie. I think it was just one auto maybe from Acadian to get that assist, but Bjergsen just mopping up Nemesis there, grabbing a solo kill and putting them in a pretty good spot thus far.
Almost got to respect the potential that really come in, but the tunnel was not taken away. But we're now going to use the ultimate immediately. Broken Blade just deleted off the face of the map.
Yeah, Broken Blade not even able to get his ultimate off there, and the wave is actually in a really bad spot for him. Bjergsen going to have to reset. Did want to push this in, but you know, that wave pushing towards Whippo, you'll notice he just went back to base, knowing that the wave will be stacking and kind of pushing towards him. So it is actually going to be the TP back from Broken Blade. He will have to expend this to try to shove it in, which may trigger Dan to come up here and try to grab some of this farm. Because Whippo is without his teleport, and here this is one more time. The tunnel was actually never cleared up by Broken Blade, so Dan able to take in the previous tunnel, then use the secondary tunnel to get right on top of Broken Blade, and you know, just makes the call that he's going to go down either way, so not dropping the ultimate, and will hang on to that. They are looking for a bit of an invade here, though. Broken Blade and Acadian moving in. Dan has spotted him with the Tremor Sense, so we'll see if Fnatic even wants to contest. I think they're just going to give it over, though.
Don't really want to risk this one. Fires in with the Prey Seeker. Will connect on the Broken Blade, but the red buff in the end will go over to Acadian there. So good steal, good use of the pressure that they have in the mid and top lanes from the side of TSM. And just checking in across the board right now, obviously a decent CS lead for Broken Blade on the top side of the map. But with the kills, will balance out the gold to a good degree. And Boots 2 very early on, not hugely surprising to see once you're able to get in and out of those trades.
And also, I mean, I think the tenacity is so hugely important, not only for the Tangle Bars, but also the Cocoon. There's the Aurelia stun. There's a lot of CC that could be coming across here from really anyone who be visiting up to that lane. Thus far, pretty even on this bottom side. You know, Hillsang certainly not able to find any type of all-in, but at the same time, you have a Sivir farming, so you're not feeling super pressured. Dan, though, making his way down here. Hillsang getting low.
Looks like he oversteps the Ricochet, doing a lot of damage here. Dan's still only level 5, however. It'll be hard for him to do anything like reset tower aggro without that ulti. Acadian on the way bottom, though. Suddenly Sven very much in trouble. The Cocoon does go in. Hillsang going to get immediately deleted, and Dan just left throwing out random auto attacks. Does not really have any follow-up here.
Yeah, those defensive summoners coming in big. For TSM, the exhaust really trying to help out there as Acadian showed up right place, right time. That was an important counter gank for Acadian. Needed to get this one back. They do see Hillsang in the area. In comes Dan, but Acadian is already here. Nails that Cocoon, and Hillsang goes down without even being able to flash. And now Acadian chasing Dan back to his jungle, but Broken Blade in some trouble.
Ooh, looking a lot more confident as Acadian. Broken Blade, though, has to be careful. I like that every time Whippo burns the full combo, though, Broken Blade is not afraid to step forward and trade. Does have to give him a bit of respect here, though.
Yeah, especially because Whippo still has flash, so you always have to be scared of that third Q, especially when that is ready for the third Q flash, especially if Deathbringer stance is active. Can be a lot of burst there. Whippo, starting to really kind of get control of this lane, thanks to some help from Dan. Also the mixed execution and great play from Whippo in those early situations.
Pearson, though, once again going in, has the passive fully stacked, will go right back out. Whippo is going to ult here. Pop Blossom. Find the knock, but of course, a good amount of tenacity means it does not last that long. Does force the flash in the end, but it's just a flash for flash trade. Nemesis, however, in trouble, will use the package. Dan will make it out with the tunnel. And a lot of very close exchanges, but no one's actually going to drop in the end.
Yeah, Whippo actually using his flash, I think, after we went away. I didn't see him use the flash in the initial play, so maybe tried to flash back in for something else. I'm not sure if I missed that, but either way, some pressure back and forth on the top side. Junglers likely will be getting called up to that top lane as both of these guys have no ultimate, no flash, certainly could be preyed upon by a potential gank. And Nemesis, at this point, just trying to withstand the matchup, wants to farm it out, continue proccing that Klepto, getting as much gold as possible here. And Acadian and Dan trying to hover around that mid lane a little bit to keep their mid laners feeling safe. Dan now back to that bottom lane here again, though, playing around the Nautilus as expected. And you have level 6 on Hylissang as well as Dan now, so the potential for a turret dive is certainly there, especially when Hylissang has that Ignite available, but they don't have eyes on Acadian, so that does make it very dangerous to go for, and I think they're just going to elect to try to go over to this Dragon instead.
Yeah, but pressure in the mid lane as well means it's quite an easy decision to rotate over. Just not enough members currently on the map for the side of TSM, as Acadian did opt the reset. TP as well for Whippo, an advantage he built earlier, putting that wave in an unfortunate situation for the side of Broken Blade. So well played in the end to get this. It will be spotted out by TSM, though, so they do know the score. The vision is there. Now just going to be the recall for the Rek'Sai as Bjergsen will take back control of the mid lane. We'll see what TSM want to do with it.
Yep, going to be able to shove this in. Certainly the right call from TSM to just give that one up. They're going to try to play to the top side, grab the Rift. This is all in.
A lot of damage coming in. Goes Golden. Yuumi, though, not able to take any damage there in exchange. Nautilus not actually ulting despite appearances otherwise.
OTP.
Sven potentially in trouble. TP on the backside. Sven now needs to run. The hook is going to connect. Smoothie needs to get out of there. Whippo going in for one. Smoothie, there's no disengaged tools left. Can he get out there? The zoomies, I don't think they're going to be enough. Whippo going to fish for it. The lockup is there. Big damage onto the cat. And Whippo's going to grab the double.
Whippo sitting at 4-1 now. Great TP from him, really punishing TSM for this chase. They get the 2v2 kill, which is awesome, but going to be punished very heavily. You can see, though, that Broken Blade at the very least will be taking turret plates on that top side, so getting him some gold back for himself. Sven TPing back down here, but Hylissang is around, and remember, that TP works doubly.
Oh no, Sven did not want to go right back into that meat grinder. Whippo with the ulti up, Sven gets taken out. Smoothie is next, the lockup is there. Are you kidding me? That was not what TSM needed. Fnatic find another 2 kills.
Yeah, they did not expect that Hylissang was still around. They both die, teleport back in, immediately die again. TSM will get first turret. So gold still in their favor despite that, but certainly not a good look for TSM's bot lane. 4 quick deaths for them. And Whippo coming out as the huge beneficiary of that one. 5 kills now. He's sitting at 5-1. He's way ahead, actually, even of the top lane gold, despite all those turret plates.
Massive. And of course, the top lane play is good, but Reckless is in an advantageous state. He does get to pick up all that CS left there, and we can take a look at it one more time. Lockup looks initially a little grim. Lasagnas does come out.
Yeah, this was a great stopwatch, utilizing the stopwatch to actually immune the Nautilus ult. That is a graphical error. But they can see the counter engage. As Nautilus goes forward for the hook, stopwatch comes out, Smoothie lands the ultimate root. But then the TP from Whippo coming in from behind. They get the kill. Whippo sticking around. They're saying, oh, it's just him. Let's chase him down. Unfortunately, getting way too brazen. Hylissang with the long con waiting in the brush here. They get the kill. They get the reset and grab a second. And Whippo now has an entire black cleaver.
It's going to be a lot more difficult for Sven. Of course, has the luxury of the dash, but needs to be respectful. Whippo, though, still one item for Sven as well, the Blade of the Rune King, letting him trade back very effectively and match some of the sustain the Aatrox has.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not going to win that 1v2, and Acadian now making his way down to this bottom side of the map. You can see that his Broken Blade with his Sven cosplay is going to be having to likewise back off on the top lane. He knows when all your members are bot side, all their members are top side, you don't get to farm So he will be just kind of moving into his jungle, trying to grab something there as TSM will race for these turrets. We'll see who will kind of call chicken first and back off to try to defend, but it looks like it should be a one-for-one trade.
And really a fight for the plates here right now. Of course, the 4th and 5th can be a little bit harder to take, but TSM starting to break through. The more members they put here, the more resistances it'll have. So this might take longer as the wave is going to die out. A new one now coming in. They're going to give the last of this to Reckless. 15 seconds before the plates expire. He should be able to grab this one. And a lot more gold into the back pocket of the Sivir. But now Nemesis coming in. Uses the power of the package. Then potentially caught out here. Bwipo, though.
Here comes Bjergsen.
Moving forward. Where is Bjergsen going to go? Ulti is up available.
Yeah, they have 5
there. This might be a bit of an overstay. Bwipo trying to find something, but there's the flash. Acadian does go down, though, in the exchange. Still a great dive by TSM. Acadian, though, maybe not the best play in that exchange.
Yeah, Hylissang and Dan making their way down here, but they still got to be careful. These are multiple solo laners here from TSM. This is not a fight that they can likely win out on, so they are going to have Reckless just shoving up that mid lane. It was a good trade kill back, taking down Acadia, but certainly still a positive play for TSM, and nice to see them looking to make those aggressive plays, looking to try to match Fnatic blow for blow. And here it is one more time. Bwipo feeling confident to be able to make this happen when the package has arrived. A good repel initially there from Acadian, running out, utilizing this Yuumi ultimate to disengage, but then you can see Broken Blade, Bjergsen arriving. They do look for the dive. Ultimate connects on 2. Acadian flashing in for the cocoon. Sacrificial lamb for the team there. Maybe could have allowed someone at higher health to actually pick up aggro first and try to protect his life, but still, great play, and they do get the turret too.
And at the end of the day, we look at the gold just across the board. TSM now with more than a 1K gold lead as well as a tower advantage, so things are looking quite good for this team. You're still fighting against a Sivir and a Corki, so you may want to up the tempo a bit more, but it's not like you're going to get completely and totally outscaled as we move later in the game.
Yeah, definitely the case, and I mean, there is some really good team fighting here still from the side of TSM. Some powerful AoE coming through, you know, when you're looking at things like the Yuumi ultimate as well as Aurelia and the Nico kind of flying in there, that can be pretty powerful. That being said, the engage on the side of Fnatic certainly much more reliable when you do have the Nautilus, and having multiple frontliners here for these 2 super scaling marksmen is going to make it an easier team fight to execute.
Oh, the flash from the wall, Hylissang spots him in his sights, but now, final chapter is going to come out by a bit more time. Dan has been deleted, Hylissang is next on the list. Fnatic fighting off more than they can chew, and now they're going to be forced to retreat, just running kills into TSM.
And Smoothie with such a great Yuumi ultimate there, turning it around, and now they're looking for more.
Stun is going to go down. They're baiting, they're buying a little bit more time. Has a few more seconds on the reset there on the Blade Surge. Will not opt to take it. TSM doing good, continuing to extend this goal lead, now 2K in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, if you fail the all-in against Yuumi, you are going to get rooted up, and then the turnaround can come out, can be very, very powerful. The Zoomies, the healing, the shielding, everything coming through. So they see this pick for Sven. Hylissang says, all right, we're going for it, flashes in. But look at this ultimate across all of Fnatic there, rooting them up. Then the Tangle Bars is an easy follow-up to repel from Acadian to buy time. And the rest of TSM can come through to protect him. Acadian barely surviving that final rocket. But TSM able to grab themselves a couple kills and the dragon to boot.
And of course, for Hylissang, it's a classic Hylissang moment. He has the brilliant plays where he waits in the brush, trying to prey on kind of enemy habits or intentions, using the TP there on the bottom side. And then you also have these moments where he's a little over-aggressive. He gets some blood in his eyes, and all he can see are those kills, those pick opportunities, and takes too big of a risk.
Well, and I think those are the plays you have to be okay with when you want to try to ask for this aggressive style, right? When we're talking about, all right, you need to take those 60-40s, have faith in your ability to do it. Well, it's not 100-0, right? It's a 60-40. There are these plays that this is an opportunity where he says, Zen is separated, that's the carry, let's burst him down. Almost works, doesn't, but it's not a reason for Fnatic to then back off from those aggressive plays, and that's something that we've seen them certainly not shy away from, trying to just go right back at their opponents if something doesn't work out, and trusting that it will work out that second time around.
We'll see. First time has been working good for him. Obviously, the 6-2 Aatrox, very strong point in the team. 24 now finished with a Corki Sivir, very steadily working towards that second item, but TSM clearly in control of the map at this stage of the game as they do barrel down the mid lane, look to break that first tier 1. Not quite there yet. Fnatic, aware of the play, are trying to group up, but the ward not spotted by Dan as he was tunneled in. Oh, will now go over. Good input buffer there, but needs to be careful walking into no man's land. It's actually Acadian who's been deletes him. Hey, Magic Pen Elise, pretty strong.
Yeah, Dan is very squishy. Just has the MR from his Merc Treads, no HP in the build whatsoever, and he gets shredded there by Acadian, flexing his muscles in the jungle here. TSM, that's a big pick for them because it's buying them more pressure around this mid lane while they have their solos out in the side lanes pushing. They're going to look to try to take control of the map from this.
Ooh, now Whipple's actually the one in trouble. He's not going to be able to get out. Does not get the free revive anymore, and TSM are just tearing Fnatic apart.
Yeah, that one was way too bold for Whipple. Your jungler just died. You're down a member there, and they walk into the fight anyway. TSM now can look to knock down this turret. Broken Blade is knocking down the tier 2 in the bottom side. Will not be able to kill up, but will get some damage down, and TSM, a couple of nice kills, getting control of this map, and we'll see if Broken Blade does overstay because Dan and Nemesis are both here, but we have to remember, Dan is so far behind.
He's level 8.
He's lower level than the Yuumi, lower level than his support. He's 3 levels down on Acadian, so, you know, he is exceptionally weak right now, and this is maybe more okay, not that it's great, if you're like a Trundle with a Knight's Vow or something. This is a Warrior Rek'Sai, right? Like, you're supposed to be the powerful early game farmer who's in their face. You know, he's nearly 3,000 gold behind Acadian now. Acadian is really starting to run over Dan in this game. You know, sitting at 217, Dan only managing to be involved in the 1 assist. Certainly, you know, having a bit of a rougher game his second go on this international stage.
And of course, the Jarvan game was pretty solid in his first performance. They did take that away on the side of TSM, so maybe not quite as comfortable on the Rek'Sai, and definitely not as comfortable in this game as we can see. And Acadian, easy to be critical of him after, you know, dying on the bot side as well as fumbling the top side dive, but has stepped it up outside of those 1 or 2 instances and has been actually very dominant in this game.
I mean, again, you know, when we're asking for aggressive plays, they're not all going to be perfect, right? And Acadian certainly did, you know, mis-execute on that dive on the top side, but he's played a great game besides that. He has been in the right place at the right time with the counter ganks. He's been heavily out farming his opponent. He's now playing in Dan's face, and, you know, with these 2 completed items plus the sword boots, you are a legitimate threat to 100-0 the Corki, the Sivir, like a lot of these players. So, you know, you have to stand up and take notice on the side of Fnatic. This is an additional AP threat at this point in the game that, you know, he can really take someone down if you misstep.
And honestly, I think it's good that you bring up aggressive playstyle because I feel like for TSM, with the Sivir and the Corki only getting stronger as the game goes on, onus is kind of on them to continue to be aggressive, to continue to find these opportunities, and to extend the very solid gold advantage that they've built up for themselves. Now 3K, I feel like every time we check in, they have another 1,000 gold advantage in their pocket.
Yeah, and the question now is, everything has looked great for TSM thus far. This is the TSM that people loved from spring. This is the TSM that people have been wanting to see in summer. Can you close out the game? That is the question on everyone's mind, because, you know, this gold lead, while great, you know, sitting just under 3,000, it is not enough to guarantee you a win. You've got to keep pushing the pace. You've got to keep pressuring Fnatic here, who are looking to scale and become monstrously strong later on.
Now see if Sven has isolated themselves. They're just going to back off immediately. You have to remember, it was Jensen who overstayed at the tier 2 in the mid lane, got killed, and instantly the game turned in Fnatic's favor. But Broken Blade is getting another advantage on the bottom side. Everything's working out for TSM in the end.
Yeah, they're able to get the disengage, and Whippo far forward.
That's forward. They're going to have enough to get him. There's the Pop Blossom, but they're not going to get it. He gets instantly popped there, but Acadian will grab one right back.
Yeah, that would have been a great play from Broken Blade, except he didn't use his Zonias, unfortunately. He wanted to go for the Pop Blossom Zonias to be able to actually continue that channel during it. May have got stunned up when he was trying to hit that. I didn't actually see if something did hit him. Either way, they still do get a kill. He trades his life. It could have been better for TSM, but it's not the worst. And again, this is the kind of thing you have to be okay with if you want this aggressive play. So in he goes. I think he just got straight up burst down. Didn't expect the damage. Maybe there was a knock up from Dan that I couldn't quite see, as there was a lot of players kind of overlapping there.
A lot of particles going on there.
But either way, does get knocked down. They do get the kill on Nemesis. They do get the kill on the Dragon as well. So TSM overall still going to be pretty happy with the play, maintaining that 3,000 gold advantage, getting another Dragon under their belt.
Things look good. Dan, of course, continuing to get scarier and scarier. Reckless with 2 items as well, but it's also a 2-item Lucian. It's a 2-item Nico on the top side of the map. Whippo has not quite had the same explosive mid game that he did in the early game, and while he is a terror with all that CDR, with the Death Stance, really hasn't been able to utilize it. TSM just keeps bursting him before he can do anything.
Yeah, has not been able to make the most of it, certainly, but that Corki is scaling. Essence Reaver plus Triforce is a really powerful build that is going to set up yourself well to go towards, IE, Rapid Fire, be sitting near that 100% crit rate. You can be incredibly strong with this type of build. You're on 40% CDR, so your poke is a lot stronger. With the Essence Reaver, you never have to worry about running out of mana whatsoever. And this is really kind of eyes towards the late game for Nemesis, as well as Reckless, who is working towards that IE. 3 items is always the kind of point in the game that I like to talk about Sivir starting to really get strong. Once you have some attack speed, you have a lot of AD with the IER, the ricochets can start to become a really, really big threat for a lot of these squishy members over on TSM. You know, a stray ricochet or two hitting the Elise, and you can be very low on health.
Speaking of hitting the Elise, Acadian has now been caught out. He will go up, but TSM is now advancing forward. Control Ward will give him a route out to safety and stop the play in its tracks.
Yeah, nicely done. You know, TSM now, though, need to get some forward vision, right? If you're going to try to play the game through the 1-3-1, I want to see them clearing out these wards, getting some wards down, and that is, it looks like, what they are trying to do at this point. 3 wards now dropped here on this bottom side. You know, this is kind of trying to give protection in this area for Bjergsen. And
now in trouble, just immediately going to get popped up. Will he get deleted in the process? Still alive. The aftershock keeping him healthy. Not going to go in the ball. Prime projectile will not connect. Titanian now on the retreat. Bjergsen trying to turn, and they're in the pinch. Broken Blade on the way in, but he's taking so much damage. Has his Zhonya's, does get pulled back, but they'll just grab Dan and walk away happy.
Yeah, that TP coming in from Broken Blade, you have to respect that if you're Fnatic, because the pop boss of Zhonya's is ready. And TSM pushing forward here, looking to knock down this turret.
Breaking it, the ulti does not connect, however. Bjergsen has to back off, but it does force Fnatic away while they break the tier 2 tower.
And now we may see TSM try to move that vision over towards the Baron area. We are at 24 minutes into the game. They knock down the last of the outers here in that bottom lane. Cracking that inhibitor turret, I think, will be very, very difficult with the wave clear that Fnatic has. So I think we have to see TSM continue to push forward, now focus around the top lane, look for that tier 2 outer, try to get vision in and around the Baron pit, and force Fnatic to try to take a fight that they are not necessarily ready for right now.
Good call overall. See if they can find the opportunity to do so. Bjergsen only getting scarier, picks the BF sword as well. Potentially the Spooky Ghost coming in for Broken Blade too. So, I mean, Fnatic are not going to get the luxury of sitting comfortably on the sidelines. Way too many tools to catch them out at this point in the game.
Yeah, and it does seem like TSM is looking up towards that top side now. You can see the Scuttle has spawning. Likely, Acadian will be heading over there to try to take this out. Some vision starting to get placed, but they have to make sure that they have a clean sweep, that no wards are left alive in this area, because these kind of pockets of vision are going to give Fnatic a lot of confidence that nothing is being started up. You can actually see, this ward outside will show them if they're going to the Baron pit. The pink ward was missed. This ward is here, is also not covered. So really TSM need to get some more pinks, reset, have one inside the Baron pit, one outside the Baron pit, one in that pixel brush that they already have, and that will kind of give you that full secure around that area. Then you want to actually see them moving forward from that area, up into the Fnatic jungle, up in here, trying to push back the vision even further, so Fnatic can't even come forward to check on the Baron pit. That's kind of that secondary step that becomes very, very important.
Absolutely, because if they make a fumble right now, they still have the gold advantage. It will not cost them a fight, most likely, unless Hylissang finds a pick, but it does cost them time. It gives more time for Reckless to approach 3 items. You mentioned it, 3 items to the point where you want to talk about Sivir. Well, he's, a crit cloak and a bit completion cost away from hitting that Infinity Edge and really being a massive threat in the coming fight.
And I mean, he has 800 gold in his pockets, so really he's only about 400 and something gold away from actually finishing that IE. We are seeing Nemesis farming very, very well also. So let's drop that package, it looks like. Just getting back to lane, but TSM are starting to move up now. This is kind of that next step. They still need to clear out the ward around the Baron pit. They have the pink ward inside the pit, but you need one just outside, because you cannot actually cover all areas of the Baron pit and that sneaky ward right against the wall outside it with just one pink.
See if they do it. Sweepers, of course, are on cooldown for now, so at least a little bit of time before Fnatic has to be really scared.
And there's actually no pink in the inventory of TSM right now, so likely that ward will stay around.
Oh, there's going to be the Cocoon. Hylissang now going to be in trouble here. Final chapter comes in. Hylissang alive for now. A lot of members going to be locked up. Hylissang now deleted. Bjergsen on a rampage, but that's the flash of safety. Bwipo wants to get something done. Broken Blade on the backside. Bwipo now in trouble. Goes gold and buys a bit of time, but he's all but set to fall now. Bwipo alive, but taken down in the end. Bjergsen unstoppable. Acadian grabs a kill as well.
And that should be the Baron for TSM. They get some vision there, and it's actually Fnatic that decide, we're going to start the fight. But they started the fight before the IE purchase. They decide to try to take that battle. They're not able to knock down Acadian, and TSM will get the Baron. And a very big gold lead at this point. And now with the 1-3-1, they have the tools they need to potentially close out this game.
I mean, you look at it, it's a masterful performance. You look back on these two picks, you think maybe Fnatic have found something, but the Yuumi and the Lucian and now the Aurelia damage is just too much.
Yeah, it's so hard to engage into a Yuumi because if you're piling forward, you're going to get rooted by that ultimate. Bjergsen stepping back, dodging out on the third Q from Whippo, then follows in for the cleanup as Dan on the side gets taken down by Sven, Akadia, and Smoothie. And now TSM have the Baron buff, so we have to see how much can you get done with this Baron buff. Taking it off the map, not enough, but they are 6K ahead. If you can knock down these last two outers, if you can crack the inhibitor line, you can really start to kind of put together all those pieces you need to close out this game.
And of course for Fnatic, a 6K deficit, but one teamfight is all it takes to start to even things up here, but it is by no means an easy road. For now, they're going to try to take total control of this topside jungle, set up to break down those tier 2 towers, push for that inhibitor as you mentioned.
Certainly one bright side though, after that fight, Rekkles completed the IE, so he is now on those 3 items, and we are seeing them get closer and closer to that. Akadia, though, gets hooked in.
Is it going to be enough? However, Yuumi trying to buy a bit more time. Final chapter, a lot of members rooted up, but the rest of the team is not here. Rekkles and Nemesis untouched on the backside, but all eyes on Fake Bjergsen. Trying to find his way in. Broken Blade going in for a little bit more. Hylissang still alive. They watch the Nico. Pop Blossom comes out. They buy a bit more time. The GA has proc, and Whippo is immediately taking down the double kill for Sven. TSM are looking for a queen sweep. Rekkles running for his life. The flash forward from Akadia will not find purchase, but TSM absolutely in advantage state.
Yeah, TSM looking very good at this point. They get 3-4-0 there, and they are still on the map with the Baron buff. They will clean up this top lane turret. They will look for the mid lane tier 2, and they can try to push forward here and knock down an inhibitor tower. But Nemesis and Rekkles back out on the map. They've got to be careful.
A lot of damage there. Going to stop the chase in its tracks, but of course enough members left up and alive. That's all of them in this case now to push in the mid lane as well. A lot of wave clear between the Sivir and the Corki. Will be able to keep those inhibitor towers alive and well, but Akadian has now been caught out. The prowling projectile will offer a good bit of disengage, and the Zoomies will take him out to safety.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get out of there and will reset. A minute and 20 or so left on that Baron buff. Here it is one more time, and again, witness the power of the disengage here from Yuumi. One of the really highly prized parts of this champion. 4-man root from the ultimate. Look at the hitbox on it, it's just enormous. Then Akadian goes into that repel, buying a lot of time. Nico coming across. They turn back and collapse onto Whippo as Broken Blade has zoned out Nemesis and Rekkles. Pop Blossom Zonia's buys some time. Fnatic does a nice job of actually dodging away from that, so not getting tagged by the damage. But once the rest of the squad is out, the carries from Fnatic have to retreat, and Akadian trading his flash with Rekkles there is actually very big because now you have the ability to perhaps pile on top of Rekkles and knock him down. Sivir, obviously no move block of her own, does rely very heavily on that flash, and one little bit of CC catches him, he could be getting burst down.
And things are just going from bad to worse on the side of Fnatic. A miserable performance from Dan, honestly, has had an incredibly rough game, and Rek'Sai is not a late game champion. Now, normally I'd say the same about the Elise, except the Elise is hella fed, so she can just kill anyone she wants to. So normally I would say, hey, it's probably about even in the late game, but Akadian can just delete people and is also, with the Zhonya's, incredibly hard to lock down in these fights.
I mean, not even when you're almost 5,000 gold ahead, turns out, right? That's a pretty big deal, certainly, but you know, the one thing for Fnatic you can be really happy about is the base didn't get broken during the Baron buff, right? And you have tons of wave clear, so the pressure becomes now for TSM, they're not going to take an inhibitor unless they get kills and then take it, right? So Fnatic kind of can go a little bit back into turtle mode. You have the IE now completed on Nemesis, so slowly but steadily, they are getting those items. And if you fail to engage, if you fail to dive, Corki and Sivir have the damage to turn around and knock you guys down very quickly. There's no tank. There's no, you're dependent on stopwatches and Zonias and, and kind of dodging in and out of the fights. So TSM has to be clean about their execution. Yes, they are certainly in the driver's seat here, but this is by no means a guaranteed win.
And something to note is that for the most part, it's been Fnatic kind of kicking off a lot of these fights as well. TSM just very quick to punish, knowing that they have the advantage. So we'll have to see if they're more confident outside of Akadian to kind of push for a bit more.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. Or if TSM wants to sit back and wait for the next Baron. I think that is going to be the call. They don't feel like it is an intelligent choice to try to dive the base. I think that's correct. Certainly, like it's just so risky, right?
Yeah, you're fine. You have a huge lead. Why risk anything?
And I mean, the thing is, though, if this was G2, they would be diving the base, right? And that's kind of the different thought process. I feel like oftentimes is about how you close out the game. I think this is kind of the more safer, more consistent style of closing out the game that they're looking for. It will again be about setting up vision in this sort of area. and they will be looking to try to take this Baron as it spawns in 1 minute. The Elder will be up in 3, so they will always have that as backup plan as well. But cracking the base without the Baron buff is so hard for TSM because the wave clear is really, really good between this Corki and Sivir at this point. I mean, Sivir can basically kill a wave with one Boomerang Blade and a Ricochet Auto.
But also important that Fnatic have been locked in their bases. They've been kept out of the jungle. A lot of their vision has been denied because when that Baron does come out, Fnatic need to make a choice. They either give it up uncontested or they walk blindly into that jungle.
Yeah, and that is really, really tough to do against this super fed Elise, against a lot of these members on TSM. So we'll see what the call is going to be here. They have 20 seconds, so they can try to reset one more time and then look to try to walk in as a 5-man squad and hope that they can take whatever comes from TSM. But I would not be surprised if Fnatic just make the call to say, no, you know what, we're going to give it up. We're going to try to defend the base. We're going to try to continue to play for it late because even if you just give up one inhibitor on a Baron, the game's still not over. But it looks like for now they have the package. They are grouping up, and they are going to look to try to slowly move in here as a 5-man squad, see if they can't get control of mid lane, and then utilize that to keep TSM away from the Baron.
Spooky Ghost does come out as well. Bjergsen taking a lot of poke from Nemesis. The hook does go wide. Dredgeline will not connect, nor will the prowling projectile. So Fnatic a little bit zoned off their own base, actually, in this case. The back comes in, but the TP flank now coming in as well. Reckless immediately going to burn on the hunt, ready to turn this one. Dan going to try to buy a bit more time out of Bjergsen. Has the GA, but is forced to flash out to safety. Zoomies now come in. Bjergsen will be closer and closer to full health, but a lot of damage from Nemesis. Have to respect the magic damage crits coming in from the Corki.
Yeah, that was a great disengage, and now he's going in.
Fearless, the exhaust immediately comes in now. Lucian has been locked up on the side. Reckless tries to get something done, but the ulti's already out. 90% slow. Blippo is not in the area. Fnatic need to be careful about taking this fight. The final chapter comes in. Hylissang is down, but Acadian is deleted as well. The 1-for-1 Blippo going right into the midst of everything. Dan stepping forward. The knockup is there. The pop-off's on back. Broken blade, only connecting on Nemesis, but that might be all he needs. Reckless has also been locked up. Buying times with the Zhonya's. Bjergsen needs to find the reset. They need to kill the Sivir. Reckless gonna be taken down by Sven in an instant, but no, Blippo, can he find the turn? Big damage comes in. It's Cat and Bjergsen versus the world now. Sven up 2, Blippo needs to find it. It could be his heroic moment, but he's not gonna get the chance. They're gonna break open the base. TSM absolutely dominating the fight.
And will they look to try to end the game here? There is 8 seconds on Hylissang, so I'm not sure if they actually can. They're going to get an inhibitor for sure, but they are looking to end this one. Blippo has got to clear out the wave as fast as he can.
Final chapter coming in. Blippo quite tanky, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Hylissang there as well, locking up Bjergsen for now. The Ignite's ticking. Can he get back in? Not the Ignite, but a bit more damage.
TSM's got to leave.
Have to be careful. Bjergsen now backing off. Locked up under tower. Is going to get shut down here.
Nemesis is about to spawn, so is Reckless. They have teleports. They could actually look for this. You can see them. They're pinging onto the ward. They're going to try to punish TSM.
Prime projectile going to stop him for now. TP now coming in.
Double TP.
Reckless coming in as well. Sven has to be careful. Corki flying forward. The Colin coming down, but Nemesis almost cold in an instant. So much damage out, fired back. Acadian knocked up. Hylissang caught the meat grinder. Broken blood, clutch stun. 2 kills immediately picked up. Fnatic fighting off more than he can do. Reckless throwing down the lead forward. Reckless is deleted. Acadian finding 2 and Nemesis running for his life. TSM have all the power in the world to end the game. It is only Dan, the so underfed Rek'Sai in this state, just running for his life, holding on to hope. But that might just be all she wrote. No more shot for Fnatic left.
Yeah, TSM can just go for the end here. They have the super minion. It's all up to Nemesis. He needs to try to kill someone off immediately, but I don't think he can do it.
Projectile, lost chapter. Pop Blossom gonna find 2 and pop. Fnatic taken out. It's gonna take a bit more time as the minions crash in, but the TSM win coming through in the end. 0-2 to kick things off, but up against Fnatic, they are finally able to find a win. Sven dancing on him, reminding him what Rift Rivals is all about. It's a little BM, it's a little banter, and it's a TSM victory.
Undefeated in the LEC, undefeated at Rift Rivals till this point. TSM takes down Fnatic, and they have got to be feeling good about that one. Acadian, 7, 2, and 15 on the Elise. Absolutely dominating Dan in the jungle on this one. Certainly a rough performance for him, but TSM fans, something to be very happy about at the end of this one.
Absolutely, and overall just a masterful performance. I gotta say, Acadian, I was skeptical. You know, we saw how good this team was with Grig. I was wondering why they made this decision, but he really did show up. The fumble at the start of the game, I was more worried. After that, the Elise was everywhere. Acadian was exactly where he needed to be, and Fnatic tried to stall, tried to get to that late game, but TSM did not let it happen.
Yeah, certainly didn't. And this is the kind of TSM that people had really been wanting to see. They've been wanting to see a team willing to play aggressive, willing to play up tempo. They certainly have the capability of playing these types of strategies, of playing that type of game. And they were able to showcase it after what had been a very rough tournament for TSM. So certainly something to stand up and cheer about here for TSM fans.